What's good with y'all, man? Today I'm gonna break down the loop that I made together with RohXO. It's part of our Old Soul pack. If you're trying to check it out, link in the description. It's got a bunch of different ones. Honestly, Fuego pack, very good pack. I mean, you can check it out for yourself, but the loops in here are really fire, so make sure you cop that. And yeah, this is what the loop sounds like. So really fire loop, and I started this loop with some keys. It's honestly a simple chord progression. Alright, so simple chord progression. We're in the key of A minor or C major. That's the same chord, but just every minor has a major relative. So we have C major or A minor, but it's the exact same notes, it's just where you start. Alright, so looking at it from an A minor perspective, we have here the fourth chord of A minor. If you start on the A, if you have your keyboard in front of you or whatever, you can also look in the piano roll. If you just look at the white keys and you start on A minor, you have A, B, C, D, and D is the fourth note of the scale. So then first chord is a D chord, so that's the 4, and then A is the 1. So that's how you know it's a 4-1 progression, and this is a very common one. Another very common one is a 5-1, so that would be, okay. If we look at the chords, like I said, it's a 4-1, and the voicing is actually a rootless voicing. So it sounds intimidating, but it's really not. All it is just a F major 7 chord and a C major 7 chord, but over a D and an A. So that gives it, like, it's still a D chord, but in the top voicing you're playing a F major 7, because it consists of the same notes, and it gives you a much fuller sound. So, you know, if we would move this, if we would move the root notes to F and C, it would still sound good. But it sounds, you know, more like, how do you say? Sounds too clean almost. It doesn't have enough color in it. If you move these down in the scale, down 2, so not down 2 positions here, but in the scale. So if you look at the scale is all white keys in this case. So if I'm on the F and I go down 2, then I end up on a D. So I've moved them down 2, and now it sounds like this. And then all I did was take the top 2 and move them down, because when you're playing the piano, it's actually very convenient to make changes like that. If I'm playing a C and I move my 2 fingers down, the top 2 fingers, I'm now in an F. So it's very common that you'll see these kind of voicings, because it's very convenient when you're actually playing the keys. Alright, so after that I took out the saxophone and just recorded some top lines. Obviously you don't have to play the saxophone. You can either use a VST or go on Splice, whatever, find some saxophone samples, whatever. Any instrument works, anything you want to do, just add a little bit of extra melody. Alright, to process this I put an EQ, I put an RC20, vinyl 1, tweak the knobs a bit, and some reverb to drown it out. And yeah, that was it. And then the last thing I added was a drum element, some drum elements. Chop them up a bit. Give it a bit more bounce, you know. You don't always want it to play. And yeah, that's it, man. That's how I made the starter. Then I sent it over to Ro, and yeah, he'll show you what he did with it.
Alright, so bots to the starter there. Thought it was fire. This was actually the first loop I did on the kit. But before we get into the beat, I want to talk a little bit about Waves. Now, Waves is a site used to upload loops, samples, stems, things of that sort. So as you can see, it's got like a pretty robust user base right here. So if I just click on any of these, you can see a preview of the kit. You can see like legends like Hoop the Truth in here, No Fuck in here. So if I can just click this, you can get like a nice little preview. So I ain't gonna play too much of that, but like we go into the pack right here, and as you can see, you can just get your credits by signing up and simply just hit download, and you can have any of these in your desktop to use, and you can just go crazy on a Hoop the Truth loop or anything. It's really simple, got a great UI. I highly recommend it. I upload here myself. You try and check it out. I'm gonna have my link down below, and you can get a discount off that too, so check that out. I'm gonna have that down below. So to start it off, I actually just used the MIDI from the piano. I decided to kind of add my own sauce to it. I used the MIDI he sent me. I just like dragged it in. I don't think I changed too much. I might have changed the key, I don't remember, but yeah, I just changed the key, probably has the BPM on 77. And yeah, I just added like a bunch of effects. So here's what it sounds like. And yeah, I'm sorry, this FLP is so laggy. I just added a lot of effects, so this FLP is kind of laggy, but just bear with me. Break down the effects on that. So first off, we got the default reverb. I just turned it up a little bit just to give it like that more like room feel, you know, like that old room kind of vintage verb for real. I have this on everything, but this is really fire for making vintage samples. It's from the the J37 from Waves, really fire plugin. I use this fake Leslie preset a lot. It just adds like this really intense chorus. You really gotta turn it down in the mix. Got like 10%. It's this really intense chorus slash like detune, reverb, delay, all that kind of stuff. So it's very subtle, but I like what it does to the track. I got the sketch cassette right here. This is like my sort of own preset. I use the clean and subtle as like a template, and then I just change a few of these settings right here. Turn these off. Turn this up in the age. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So RC20 right here on like these very simple settings. Just turn the noise off. Turn the distort off. Leave these as they are. Pretty much. That's all I do. Got some Soothe right here. You know, it's like my favorite plugin for mixing. Soothe, less spikes, more size. And less mud in the master. If you have like a really intense sound and like a lot of frequencies, I recommend like Soothe for that. Like just double up on the less mud and master, less spikes. Those presets are hard, but yeah. Then just like a little EQ right here, just cutting out a few of the lows. You can add the bass in later too. For the rest, if we go back, I just used his drums as they were. They're already hard, so here's what it sounds like now. Yeah, and I love how these two bars are different right here too. But yeah, then for effects, I have like a bunch of the same effects I have on the piano basically. Nothing too different there. I just turned the reverb down actually on this one from the usual, just because it was already like a decent amount of reverb on it. I didn't want to go too crazy with that. And the last thing was the saxophone he already added. I didn't change too much. Oh, okay, so I did change the pitch of the sample. So I changed it from G, F sharp, F. I changed it from F to G sharp. So yeah, this whole sample's in G sharp. And here's what this sounds like, the saxophone. Yeah, it's actually simple, but it's so hard. These two parts of the sample are different again, so salute to him for that. And yeah, I just have the same effects on this again, just to see 2 less spikes, more size added. But yeah, that's it. I did put the reverb back to like my usual default settings right here, the mix and the decay. Next thing up is when I started adding my own sauce to it. So this is the bass right here. This is ABP, probably one of my go-to basses. I got into the Rickenbacker bass more recently, you know. You kind of got to get into that a little bit at some point. Everyone using that, but this bass is still hard. Really simple bass pattern right here. If I have a simple bass, it's still my go-to bass. Here's what it sounds like. So yeah, really just following that bass line right there, just following the bass notes, not doing anything too crazy. You can go crazier if you want to. I decided like this is such a chill sample, I don't want to go too crazy with that bass, but yeah. I just got some of these effects here. I don't have the fake Leslie on this, just the sketch cassette and the RC20 from before. But yeah, like just kept it simple for this one. That sounds hard. Just remember for effects, for these sort of vintage samples, I found it really important that you have like a bunch of master effects or windshield effects across all your sounds, just to make it sound like it's processed through the same engine, like you've dragged it out of some vintage crate or something like that, you know. So just to have that kind of effect, just have like the same sort of settings and the same sort of vintage presets on like everything. I feel it helps. But yeah, next thing was this little texture right here. It's from Dude Clay. Let me find the kit is from. It's from his Lovecraft kit, so shout out to him. Here's what it sounds like. Just that, just some like kids screaming, like some playground shit, you feel me? But yeah, for the textures, just the same 3. Then I have this Good Hertz mid side as well, just to add some width to it. And then the usual less spikes, more size. You already know I love that. And finally, like this EQ right here, cut out a lot of the lows. 650, that's kind of like my go-to. Yep. Next sound right here, this is a little Perc. Yeah, this is from this kit right here. Shout out to Vampirus. He's got a really hard Memph kit, so salute to him. This is like a little shimmer right here. I don't know why it's called Perc, but it actually adds a lot to the sample. It sounds so vintage is what it is. And yeah, again, on the next part. So yeah, it's really simple, but I love what it does. So we play everything together right now. Yeah, I mean, you get it. This FLP is so fucking laggy. I was so happy to be out of it when I was done. But this sample's hard though, so I have to go back. I had to do it for you guys, you know, but yeah, man, that one hard. For the effects on that, we just have the same 3, the usual, and then a less spikes, more size. You already know. Added like a good amount of reverb to that too, just the usual. We have this sort of Celeste music box, sort of bell type of thing. So here's what this sounds like on its own. So yeah, really simple. These belts are actually really common in soul samples, in a lot of vintage samples in general. Yeah, really just play like a very simple pattern on these. Like you want it kind of spaced out, like just based on how the sample is. Kept it dead simple, sort of followed like the notes already in the scale. I mean, not even in the scale, in the piano itself, in the chords. And just play this really simple pattern. Remember to randomize all the velocities to make it more realistic. Whole point of these is to sound as realistic as possible, so just make it sound very, very realistic. Randomize all the time. Move things manually if you have to. Strum, Alt S, Alt R, all that. So never forget that. A lot of effects on this one. The reverb, usual settings, a little bit of pancake too, just to give it some width and to have it stand out in the mix. Echo bar right here on the analog preset. Really subtle sort of delay, just goes hard. I like it. Usual, these 3 you already know. So 2 less spikes, more size. You know it's my favorite, and then just cutting out the lows at 350 hertz. Then we have this EP right here, electric piano, just playing like those high strums. So just copying the chords from the piano essentially, just like sort of spacing it out. And yeah, these are really common in vintage samples. I already kind of like explained this in my West Coast tutorial because I want that sort of smooth feel for those as well. But here's what it sounds like. So yeah, just keeping that simple. That's all that is. There's already like a decent amount going on with the sax and the drums and all that. So for effects on that, just the usual reverb. You can hear that delay right there is on these settings. Kind of needed just because the chords themselves are just so simple on their own. To give it more like impact. Usual sketch cassette, the fake Leslie, you already know. RC20, same settings. Added this mid-side matrix on the same settings, the wide settings, just to give it more width and less spikes, more size on the on this, just you know, take out some resonances. Then finally we have this mute trumpet right here. This is since there's already a sax, just trying to keep it simple. I feel like they're really slept on instrument in session horns just because a lot of people use a sax instead. But I think it goes hard, so this is what it sounds like. And salute to Boz because he actually played the sax, I think. But yeah, this is just from ODST, so here's what it sounds like. That's that simple, just like in the spaces in between. Sort of have that in there just to add like a little bit of smoothness, you feel me? But yeah, dead simple. A lot of reverb on that. I have it on these settings right here. Pancake once again, right here on the half, just because like I wanted you to feel the pan more, you feel me? So if it's just on the 2 bar, it's only gonna come on one side. It's always gonna be on this side right here, so you're gonna want to turn it down a little bit. But yeah, got it on those settings. Delay, you heard that delay right there. It's on these settings. Then these 3 plugins you already know. Been using those. A little bit of shaping for the highs, just get them out of there. And one thing I do want to say is a lot of people just straight up go for like the harsh cut on their stuff. Like they'll just go for this. I'd say there's a lot of good sounds like in the high frequencies that you may want to keep. So what I definitely say is just don't always go for this, especially for melodies. If you're like cutting it out for the sake of your 808, then yeah, for sure, do like a harsh cut here or something. You can do that if you want to, but I feel like for melodies, it just there are some frequencies you want, so maybe just turn them down a little bit by shaping it like this instead of just straight up just going for a harsh cut. That's my opinion, but you know, some people will disagree. But anyway. Next, I got this less spikes, more size, and yeah, that's pretty much all the effects on it. Some vocals right here. Here's what it sounds like. So yeah, really subtle right there. As you can see, I just piled on the effects right here. I almost had to export it and start a new chain or create a bus or anything. It's a lot of reverb, a lot of delay right there, as you can see. This very harsh EQ. I actually use the radio preset, and then I just turn this down right here. That's all I usually do for that. I have like this little shaper right here, just get rid of some of the highs. Then you already know what we're doing with these 3. Pancake on these settings, once again on the half, just because it's such a short note. You need it on the half for people to even notice the panning. So have it there. Cut a lot of the highs right here. I mean, a lot of the lows right here on this preset, and on this EQ. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for that. These vocals are from this Splice Bank Soul Jazz with Brian Bliska, so salute to him. Yeah, for soul samples, you're gonna want some soul vocals. You can either make them yourself just by like singing into your mic, or you can go on Splice or something with them. I'm not sure like Arcade really offers anything like that, but you can try that though. Last thing we have here is another vocal right here. I actually reversed it just to make it sound like kind of a riser. But here's what this sounds like. So yeah, that one's pretty simple. It's kind of like a little transition to the next 4 bars right there. But for that, a lot of reverb, a lot of delay right here. Pancake again on these settings, just so you notice it. The same EQ right here. I just copied a lot of these settings, as you can see. The last vocal, so these 3 you already know. And finally the same EQ, just cutting out the lows. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole sample. I'm gonna try playing this again at the risk of my computer exploding, but just stay looped in, enjoy, check out RohXO. This kit is my favorite kit I've ever worked on. I'm telling you guys, this is the hardest kit I've ever worked on. For the hardest I've worked on a kit. Just even though I had starters and stuff, like I really like try to learn a lot about like vintage sample creation. I've done a few of them before, but I've never put them out on my main channel. But you know what I mean, just check out this kit. I love it so much. I promise you won't regret it. Check out Waves, you know what I mean? I got my affiliate link down below. And yeah, stay looped in, gang. Peace out.